Well, hey everybody, I'm John Retland. This is my review of New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 Climax 29 Night 13 event. Yep, watch this one live because I couldn't sleep past like about 12:30, so I was like, well, why the hell not? It's the least I can do as a wrestling fan. I can forego sleep after these guys tear their bodies up and have been tearing their bodies up for years, but especially just in this tournament alone. And also want to make mention that for the Night 14 review, it may be up Sunday morning. If not, it just depends on how I sleep. I will have it up Sunday afternoon, evening, since I work a little bit later that day, and also Wednesday and Thursday. Those reviews will be up sometime each of those afternoons, and then for night 17, 18, and the finals, I will be watching every single one of those live. That's going to be a busy weekend for wrestling and for working, so do not worry. I'm going to be taking care of myself, but hell, why the hell not? It's the big, glorious climax and everything. Yep, I had to throw that joke in there, but this one had a great main event, had a couple good block matches, but I'm going to be honest, this felt like one of the most throwaway cards for about the first, I would say, 5 matches. And I feel bad saying that. I mean, actually, the opening undercard match was pretty fun for what it was, but everything else like just felt like such a wash. And they did this one stupid thing with commentary that I'm going to get into here in just a little bit. But you get Kevin Kelly, Rocky Romero, Chris Charlton on commentary for most of the show. They took Chris out at one point, which was not a good idea. But Juice Robinson, Toa Henare versus Ren Narita and Yota Tsuji. One, I hope that Henare is in the G1 next year. He really does deserve it. He's risen up the ranks. He's done very well. He's had a great show in a lot of these tag matches. I want to see him in the G1, and hopefully he will be. Hopefully he'll be featured well in World Tag League too. So it's all about the Young Lions getting a showing though, and it was good for what it was. But it was a basic match with some good exchanges. But however, Henare did end up winning, pinning Yota Tsuji for the 1-2-3. He wins with a variation of Uranagi. I don't know exactly what it's called. I'm sorry. I mean no disrespect. I think commentary has made mention of it. Maybe I'll just have to research it a little bit. But it was what it was, and it was a pretty good match. And then we get Yano, Hanma, and Jeff Cobb versus Tomohiro Ishii, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi. It previews of Goto and Cobb and Ishii and Yano. And Yano gets targeted. Of course, you get the Yano antics and all that stuff and everything. After a bit, everybody gets in, hits a move, all that. And then the butterfly lock taps Hanma. And I know it sounds like I'm skipping over some of the finer details of some of this stuff, but really, with a lot of these undercard matches, you're getting some good action, you're getting some good exchanges, but they're really just there just to say, oh, hey, you're going to see these guys tomorrow. And then we get Bushi, Shingo, and Naito versus Minoru Suzuki, Taichi, and Kanemaru. So Juice and Taichi are actually facing off, but Taichi is part of this match. And also we're going to get Naito and Shingo. And even though they're on the same team, we're going to get LIJ exploding again. Of course, you get to jump before the bell. Everybody goes outside. Suzuki just buries Bushi under a whole bunch of shit and everything, at least temporarily. You get Naito and Taichi. They had their match earlier in this G1. And Made in Japan ends up pinning Kanemaru for the 1-2-3. And then LIJ does the fist bump thing, which is pretty cool. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Shingo and Naito. I don't think there's any doubt Naito's going to win with the way they're going with these point totals and with the way they're building the story. But Shingo's had a pretty good G1, even though I think he's only won like 2. Still, hadn't been that bad. And then we get Shota Umino and Jon Moxley versus Chase Owens and Jay White. And it's a preview of Jay White versus Jon Moxley. And Shota gets beat up. And then we get Jay and Mox. They had, some attempts at wrestling and everything, but no, Jay White kept running away from him and only attacking when he could. Boston Crab spot with Chase, where Shota had him. But in the end, Blade Runner into pinning Shota for the 1-2-3. So yeah, that happened. And then Chase Owens joins commentary because he tosses Chris Charlton away and joins commentary. And it just, look, I'm sorry. I don't get the appeal of Chase Owens. I just fucking don't. I don't care who hears this. I don't. I'm kind of done with it. Is he a good wrestler? Yes. Yes, he is a good wrestler. He was trained by Ricky Morton. He is a good wrestler. He obviously has great fundamentals and is a good tag team wrestler. He is boring as shit. And I'm one to talk about being boring as shit, but I'm just a wrestling fan. I'm not on TV. I'm just running a little YouTube channel. I am not on TV, or I am not featured in a major wrestling company or whatever. He's just as dull as dishwater. He's boring. And his commentary is somehow more boring. And it just, good grief, he's there. The reason is because we start with the A block matches is Kenta versus Bad Luck Fale. Jado interferes because, of course, Jado fucking interferes. I get it. I really feel like the whole Bullet Club thing kind of needs to go away. I kind of feel like there isn't really any reason to have that whole thing anymore. The Gorillas of Destiny totally get it. Tama Tonga, Tangaloa. It just, the faction just doesn't feel special anymore. They just don't, and it's mainly due to outside of like Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and maybe to an extent Jay White. What the fuck do they have? They have like a bunch of scraps. And I have nothing against, I didn't like this. I didn't like this match. I mean, I knew what I was going to get. And Fale ends up grounding Kenta, and we get Chase being boring as hell on commentary. Kenta comes back. He does hit a nice double stomp. Chase interferes. Jado's trying to interfere. We get all this, and we get Fale rolling up Kenta for 3. Fale is already eliminated from the G1, but okay, let's just eliminate Kenta essentially. And the reason I say that is because even if Okada lost the main event, guess what? He holds tiebreakers over Kenta and Tanahashi with 2 matches left. So they could only equal his point total, so he would still win. That's where I didn't understand about commentary, unless I'm totally missing something. Since it's night 13, you got night 15 and 17. That's it for A block. So the best Kenta and Tanahashi can do is 12 points. And Okada has 12 entering tonight. Did I misunderstand the thing about the tiebreakers? I don't know. Maybe I'm just picking on this. This match bored me, though, and I feel bad because I don't think Fale's bad. I just think Fale's better in tag teams, and Kenta, whatever. I had no desire to see Kenta win the G1 anyway. But yeah, I didn't like this, and I'm sorry, if you're going to involve Chase that much, ugh. You can have wrestlers be heel commentators and everything, and not drag things down. I mean, I'm sorry, when you make it look like Don Callis is not being biased on commentary, that's saying something. To be fair, Callis and Kevin Kelly have a pretty good chemistry. But anyway, so yeah, that Bad Luck Fale wins. Whatever. We then get Lance Archer coming down and taking out a whole bunch of young lions, and he faces off against fellow Suzuki-gun member Zack Sabre Jr. It was a good match. It wasn't bad. It had its moments. I think Archer's still pretty over. I think the fans have taken to him more, but they kind of cooled off Archer a little sooner than maybe they should have. But still, it is what I mean. I don't think there was any doubt that Archer wasn't going to win. Like wasn't going to win the G1. But it's like after starting off kind of hot, they kind of cooled him down pretty quickly. Maybe this means he'll get some kind of title shot at some point. But anyway, we get more Suzuki-gun exploding. I don't have the budget for an explosion. Sound effect or anything in there. I'm sorry. But we get speed versus power. Archer tossing Zack Sabre Jr. a lot of submissions. Some really good submissions. It's really fabulous watching Zack Sabre Jr. wrestle. And Archer has done well in this G1, as I said. We get a big old choke slam for 2. We get he pulls ZSJ up because he's like, oh, no, I can beat him. Well, that ends up kind of biting him in the ass because then he goes for the blackout. And then Archer gets rolled up. Zack Sabre Jr. kind of gets, variation of like, an octopus strike, but then gets a roll up 1, 2, 3, and Zack Sabre Jr. wins. Both these guys are eliminated, by the way, but it is what it is. I'm a bit surprised that Sabre Jr. only has like, a few points, but whatever. I mean, this was a match between 2 guys in a faction. It was a good match. It was a good speed versus power match. And then we get Ospreay versus Evil. This was quite good. This is where things really started to pick up. The last 3 matches in particular were what saved this show. Zack Sabre Jr. and Archer started to save it a little bit. It started to get things back on the right track. But yeah, it was, more speed versus power. You got Ospreay, Ospreay starting off, with some pretty good exchanges. But then Evil takes it outside, puts a chair over Ospreay's neck, does the whole, it's long, it's hard, it's gone. Haha. Long as far it's gone is what I should have said. But there were some good momentum switches here. It's really enjoyable. I'm just looking at my notes, by the way. Apologies. I write this shit down because it's hard to remember all this shit. But, we get a nice coast-to-coast variation from Ospreay. I mean, literally almost going all the way across the ring. It's pretty impressive. I mean, I think the New Japan ring is smaller than the one in WWE. I mean, not that it matters because it's still impressive to watch a guy jump from one side of the ring to the other. I don't know. I may need to look up the specs for a New Japan ring. Still impressive as fuck, especially given Ospreay's ability, to like just make anything look good, but also the fact he's been dealing with a bad neck. There's a nice strike exchange. I have some pretty good stuff. Big old power bomb from Ospreay. Big Os cutter for 2. But then Evil's coming back. He has 2 half Nelson suplexes, and everything is Evil for the 1, 2, 3. So Evil remains alive in the G1. Ospreay does not. Ospreay's been eliminated since I think about the day before, the event before, or well, no, that would have been night 11. Still, he's been eliminated, but hey, Evil's maintained just a bit of being alive, and he still faces Okada a little bit later, so tiebreaker and all that. And he beat him in a previous G1, I believe sometime in 2017. And then we get to Tanahashi versus Kota Ibushi, and it's a rematch of last year's G1 finals, which went about 38 to 40 minutes. This didn't go that long, and that's a good thing because it's a 30-minute time limit in all the tournament matches, except the finals where they could wrestle all night. Please don't. Do not take the fight forever thing literally, but ankle, knee targeting here, especially Tana just going after wrenching the knee and the ankle and stuff like that. Nice clover leaf by Tanahashi. Big old Hurricanrana, springboard Hurricanrana by Ibushi soon after that. I mean, a couple minutes after that was pretty damn impressive. Watching Tana wrestle is making me sad. He's about done. And I know that sounds kind of bad. It's not that he's washed up. That's not it. You can just clearly tell he is labored doing a lot of this stuff. He is still the ace. He is still able to pull out some great moves. He is still able to do some great stuff, but it's making me sad to watch him wrestle. But big old stomp out of nowhere by Kota Ibushi. Deadlift German for 2. God, that's scary. That's just so goddamn scary. Why does Kota hate his own neck is what I wonder. Big strike exchange. Palm strike, palm strike, palm strike. Both no selling at some points. Kota with that switch flipped. He just is starting to get more focused. 2 twists and shouts. Aces high hits, but then the high fly flow misses. And then the Bomaye, the Shinsuke Nakamura's finisher. Since, Ibushi loves Nakamura so much. I mean, who doesn't? And then Kamagoe 1, 2, 3. Ibushi finally beats Tanahashi in a singles match. Well, at least in a New Japan ring. That was very impressive. I don't think they've faced off outside of New Japan. I'm just saying, I like to cover my bases here. That was good. I enjoyed that. It was quite a good match. Obviously, it wasn't going to be as long or maybe as good as their finals match, but it was still good for what it was. And then and then they had to show respect afterwards, which I don't, obviously, the mic wasn't that close. I could sort of hear stuff. Maybe it was something like Tanahashi was like, it's like great work. Now go kick some ass or something like that. I mean, I don't know what he would be saying, but it's like you've done well. I do like how commentary is making it like, oh, could Kota Ibushi equal what Tanahashi has done in the company? Tanahashi's 42 years old. Kota Ibushi's 36, 37. I mean, I know that Ibushi probably can wrestle a number of years. Hopefully, he's in phenomenal shape and everything. There ain't no way he's going to equal what Tanahashi does. Now, is he going to pull off some impressive shit? Absolutely. I just find it funny sometimes when commentary does that. But then we get to Okada versus Sanada. It's a rematch of the New Japan Cup Finals and Wrestling Dontaku Night 2? Is it Night 2? I don't know. The whole thing kind of blends in together after a while. Sorry, it's like this whole overarching story. But the crowd was split, but also seemed to be siding with Sanada more often than not. I mean, they were cheering Okada, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's Okada. How can you not? And the match was terrific. It was a typical Okada match where it started slow. You got some rest hold. You got a big drop kick to the outside. Where sent Sanada outside. That was by Okada. Big neck, a lot of neck focus by both, especially by Okada in the beginning. Then Sanada was actually focusing on when he went for Skull End later. Big dive by Sanada. And then the Paradise Lock. Elbow by Okada. There were a lot of Skull End attempts. Big strike exchange. Tombstone reversal into the Skull End. TKO for 2. The Muda Moonsault misses, though. And that doesn't, not the knees up, it just misses, and he's clutching his knee and everything. Skull End got countered, short Rainmaker times 2, but then Sanada counters with a Rainmaker of his own, gets Skull End. He locks Skull End on 3 separate times. And then finally, and we're down to like the last like 30 seconds of the goddamn match. He hits a moonsault, then the knees pop up, then a pop-up TKO, or the knees get up, the knees are up by Okada. Then we get a pop-up TKO by Sanada soon after, and then two Muda moonsaults with like 15 seconds left. I think it actually ended up being the runtime had to be 29:48. 1, 2, 3, Sanada finally gets a win over Okada in singles action. And yeah, that was a good way to close it. I don't think there's any doubt now we're going to get Sanada versus Okada on one of the Destruction shows, or maybe in October, King of Pro Wrestling, something like that. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the rest of this, because right now, and I'm going to go to the point totals right here, we got Will Ospreay at 4. And then we have Lance Archer at 4. We got Evil at 8. He's still alive. And then we got Bad Luck Fale at 4. Sanada at 6. He's out. Zack Sabre Jr. at 6. He's out. Kota Ibushi has 10. So he's still alive. And then Kenta and Tanahashi each have 8. And people keep making it like they're still alive. Well, they faced Okada, and Okada has 12. 2 matches left. You can't have a tiebreaker over somebody like, and not beat them if you have the same point total. So really, there's technically only 3 that are alive. There's Okada, there's Kota, and there's Evil. If Okada only had 10 points, then sure, everybody would still be alive. But it's just down to 3. And then with the B block, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens on night 14. So anyway, folks, I'm going to end this right here. But thank you very much for watching the review. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. See you soon.